name is Anthony, and I'm a partner here at the Corporate and M&A team at Hogan Lovells. I'm here today to give you an introduction to M&A, and I have 4 questions which I'm going to try to answer for you over the course of the next few minutes. First, what is M&A? Second, who are our clients here which we're acting for in the M&A team? Third, what is our role as lawyers on an M&A transaction? And fourth, what does a trainee do in M&A? First, what is M&A? M&A, very simply, is mergers and acquisitions. And what that means is buying, selling, or investing in a company. Typically, we divide M&A up into different types of transactions. Crudely, those are public M&A transactions, private M&A transactions. Then there's what we call equity capital markets. And we also have an area, a type of transaction, which is venture capital and high growth. Let me talk about each of those in turn. Public M&A is simply takeovers. Public M&A involves any company which is listed on the stock exchange. Those companies have lots of shareholders who own shares through a stock exchange. And that creates a very different type of transaction from what I'll talk about in a minute, which is private M&A. Think of Marks & Spencer or Tesco. Any takeover involving a company like that, that is public M&A. Next, let's talk about private M&A. Now, technically, private M&A is any transaction which is private, so not carried out on a public stock exchange. Here, the parties to that transaction can decide the terms of that deal. There aren't specific rules which regulate it. And as you might imagine, there's huge variety in the types of transactions which are covered in private M&A. In particular, what we often do are transactions called joint ventures. As the name says in the tin, a joint venture is a venture between 2 parties. So you don't buy or sell the whole of a company, you share ownership of the company, and that requires a complex agreement, often called a shareholders agreement, that regulates that joint venture, that participation, that partnership going forward. Next, I'll talk about equity capital markets. Equity capital markets are essentially stock exchanges. But the types of transactions I'm talking about now are not takeovers. They are instead quite specific transactions carried out by companies which are listed on the stock exchange. So, for example, if you want to have an IPO of a company where it enters the stock exchange, that's an ECM transaction. If a company on the stock exchange wants to raise money, that is also a particular type of equity capital markets transaction. Finally, let's talk briefly about venture capital and high growth. This is synonymous with Silicon Valley on the west coast of the United States. What we're talking about here are high growth, very new startup tech companies which are growing from very small origins, someone's laptop, all the way through to the Amazons and Metas of the world. Those companies are incredibly capital hungry and need lots of funding. And the typical way to fund those transactions is an M&A investment transaction, which we call venture capital or high growth. My second question was, who are our clients? Here at Hogan Lovells and in the M&A team, we have an incredibly wide range of clients that we act for on a day-to-day basis. These range from listed companies themselves. So those companies I was talking about earlier for public M&A and equity capital markets, we advise them on all types of transactions that they may be considering. We also, in a global law firm like Hogan Lovells, act for a large number of overseas clients. So big automotive companies from the US or Germany, large healthcare companies, but also smaller companies who may be based in China or the US, Europe, wherever. If they're doing a transaction in the UK, we will assist them from the M&A team in London. We also act for high growth tech companies. As an example, I do a lot of work for fintechs. We have a super regulatory team here who do lots of financial services advice. And through them, we have great fintech clients who we help on some of those venture capital and investment transactions I was talking about earlier. And finally, a big pool of clients for us in the M&A team are investors. Those range from private equity funds who are looking to do private M&A transactions where they acquire businesses, own those businesses and look to exit those investments in a few years' time. But also investors who are maybe looking to invest in a high growth company and allocate a smaller amount of money to take a smaller percentage of a company, but they will be investing in that company and that will be an M&A transaction where we will help them. And those investors, particularly in London, are a very large group of people and important clients for us. Let's consider our third question. What is our role as lawyers on an M&A transaction? We have a number of roles here, and maybe the key thing to stress is that an M&A deal requires teamwork. That involves the M&A group ourselves, and there'll be a team of lawyers there, but also, almost always, a much wider team of different people with different specialisms, maybe in different offices within Hogan Lovells. The core jobs, though, are probably these. First, we paper the deal. We write the documents, the agreements, the announcements, the board minutes. We prepare the paperwork for the deal that documents the agreement for the transaction. Secondly, we provide advice. We will advise the client on the rules that they may need to navigate on a transaction. We will advise them on their structure that they're looking to propose for a deal and all the other questions that will come up on the transaction. Third, an important and necessary part of a deal is due diligence. Due diligence is the process of investigating the business that a buyer is looking to buy. And our role as lawyers is to run the rule over the company from a legal perspective and prepare a report and do due diligence for our client. Fourth, we negotiate the deal. It's not always as glamorous as it looks on the TV, but we will sit in meetings, we will negotiate with the other side, try and win points, we'll lose some points, and negotiate the terms of the deal. And finally, important part of our job is project management. That sounds a bit dry, but what that means is we're coordinating all the different people in the team, at the client, other advisors, and trying to pull people together to deliver the project, the transaction, often on a short, sharp timetable, as best we can for the client. Now for the fourth question. What is the role of a trainee? In short, everything. Teamwork is key here, and a trainee is a vital person in the team. So, you will be helping to paper the deal, drafting simple documents maybe, like a set of board minutes, or a letter, or all manner of documents. You'll be helping with the advice we give the clients. Often, I will ask a trainee to do research on a particular point, a tricky question which has come up and maybe I don't have time to look into myself. You'll be a big person in the due diligence process. Trainees will often, and I'm afraid it's not glamorous, go through those documents, look for points, do the checking and help write the report for the client. And finally, you'll be an important part of the project management and the coordination that I was talking about earlier. So often, a brilliant trainee will be the person who is the glue for the team that helps keep people pointing in the right direction, meeting deadlines, and ensuring we deliver an excellent service to our clients. I hope that makes you excited about what I believe is the most exciting area of law that you could practice in. And I hope to see you one day working with us on one of our deals.